Man, he was a great hero. Oh yeah, for sure. Himmel is genuinely the GOAT. I remember this one time my little sister got stuck in a bush and he pulled out just in time. Wait, who's this guy? The hero of the story is usually the protagonist.
Oh shit.
We follow their epic journey, mourn their gut-wrenching losses, get inspired by their grueling training arcs, kick our feet in the air and giggle like a little girl when they finally beat the big bad villain. Basically, they are the center of attention. But in Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Himmel is but a wistful memory, haunting the namesake of the show's mind as a constant reminder of regret, but also becoming her reason for growth. It is because of him that Frieren sets forth on her journey so she can see him again, as well as form bonds with other people and learn to care for and trust them. And for this reason, he is basically the backbone of the story, which is why he appears in almost every fucking episode as Frieren achieves some sort of enlightenment by flashing back to a time when Himmel and her were in a similar situation. But what if I told you there was another? Another hero, I mean. One who was considered humanity's strongest, and went on a insanity type streak during the war against demons, but is lost in the pages of history. And what if I told you that his entire story was introduced, developed, and concluded in the span of 9 minutes? Well, season 2 of Frieren has cooked up another masterpiece of a half episode, and in this video, I'm gonna dissect the brilliance of Frieren's storytelling and what makes the hero of the South's arc so damn cool.
I'm doing this year. I'm better. Come a little bitch, ain't done little bitch. One little bitch, ain't nothing like me. Open your eyes for a second, I'm a high-end legend on the guidance that you need. Rolling on sevens on a regular, now I don't think you're ready for the revolution that I bring. 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4 shot, found no you down. Hold up.
We start off this episode with Master Roshi offering Frieren a side quest. Polish the hero statue in the Times Square and receive a legendary reward. Frieren immediately accepts, but as they pull up, we see that this hero is not Himmel. Our expectations, along with Stark's, is subverted right off the rip. And you know we're about to get some crazy lore drop.
Well, actually, in Season 1, Episode 6, at 11 minutes and 6 seconds, Aizen mentioned that the hero of the South...
Yeah, shut the fuck up. I guarantee that no one was thinking, ah yes, they're gonna polish the hero of the South statue now, when they first watched this. And even if they somehow guessed this, we don't know shit about this guy, other than his title. Which is why we need some exposition. And we get this through Frieren narrating over a puppet show, which is just genius on so many levels. There's this running theme of importance of memories in Frieren, and what it means to live. As Himmel would put it,
生きているということは誰かに知ってもらって覚えていてもらうことだ
and so by initially portraying his backstory through a puppet show, it's evidence that the hero of the South lives on, and his impact isn't forgotten by those who he helped. We'll come back to this point later on. Also, just a fun fact, Madhouse actually acted out the puppet show in real life, so they could use it as a reference and animate it correctly, which just shows the amount of passion put into making Frieren. Anyway, Frieren drops some bold knowledge on Fern Stark, which is that the hero of the South blitzkrieged through the Demon King's frontline, and reached the end, where he 1v8'd the 7 Sages of Destruction and Schlatt, the Demon King's right-hand man, who could see 1,000 years into the future. Now the 7 stages are basically the strongest demon mages, aside from the Demon King and Schlatt, and this man with 2 swords walks right up to them and says, nah, I'd win. Unfortunately, similar to Gojo, he did not, in fact, win. I mean, imagine having to fight 7 dudes who all have OP magic powers, but somehow he killed 3 of the 7 sages. Ultimately, his story ends with him and Schlatt slaying each other in a battle that liberated many people on the Northern Plateau. Anyway, enough chit chat, we've got a statue to clean, but they actually already have a spell for that, so it only takes them like 2 seconds to clean it. How do you fill that screen time with something worthwhile? Well, this is where Frieren hits us with the classic flashback, instilling yet another layer of depth to his persona. So far, we have the big picture view of his character. We know about as much about him as the townsfolk who celebrate him. But through Frieren's flashback, we are given a more esoteric view into him as a person. Let me explain. We learned that the hero of the South actually asked Frieren to help him defeat the Demon King before Himmel, but couldn't convince her as he had already thought. Wait, as he had already thought? He then confides to Frieren that he can see the future, which is the reason why he was so powerful, to which her reaction was basically,
I know, that's crazy.
She reacts this way because she understands that it's low-key a shit ability. It's like one of those reels that's like, choose a superpower, but the first reply is a consequence. In this case, the power is clairvoyance, but the consequence is, well, you'll see. Or maybe Frieren is just detached and that's why she doesn't give a fuck, I don't know. Seeing this apathy, he drops another truth bomb on her.
Allow me to pique your interest. You know of the 7 sages of destruction, yes?
Frieren instantly locks in, and we get a short tilting shot of Frieren facing off against one. Firstly, this could be foreshadowing as from season 1 episode 18, Frieren mentions how she has lost 4 times to demons with less mana than her, and I'm guessing this was one of them, which she'll have to face again in future seasons. Secondly, the fact that the name 7 Sages of Destruction made Frieren stand on edge really puts into perspective how powerful they are, and consequently how strong the hero of the South was. But perhaps the biggest reveal is that
1 year from now on the northern plateau, I will be slain, along with Schlacht the Omniscient. They shall rip me from the world I have fought so hard to protect.
this time we see the actual confrontation, adding a sense of gravity and groundedness to his defeats. This is done to remind us that he isn't a fairy tale, that he really existed. But another thing that makes this scene so resonant is how bittersweet it is. The hero of the South is a dead man walking alive. Bro basically unlocked a power so good, he knows his opponent's every move, including the one where he gets slimed out by the 7 sages. Every step forward is another step towards the fight he'll die in. He knows he won't be the one saving the world, that the only hero people remember is Himmel. But despite all this, he marches on. But why? Well, before he leaves, he asks Frieren to pass on a message to Himmel for him. We cut away to this, but there's no dialogue. Only the patter of rain and echoing thunder can be heard, creating this gloomy, almost threatening atmosphere. Himmel's expression turns grim as Frieren relays the message, building on from the atmospheric tension. And then finally, we get to hear it, straight from the hero himself.
You have my word. I will clear a path for you. Put your faith in humanity's strongest, the hero of the South.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was low-key tearing up from this. The hero of the South story isn't one of triumph. It's about accepting the fact that the hero of the world will be someone else, and instead of resenting that fact and trying to change fate, he accepts it in the best way possible, becoming a self-sacrifice for another hero's story by fighting a battle he will lose, but paving the way to winning the war. And that's why he's goated, not just because of his strength, but his decision to become the sacrificial queen in a game of chess, so the rook, bishops and knights could take the dub. We are then teleported back to the present, where Frieren broodingly looks at the polished statue. She turns away to see the townsfolk gathered, admiring the statue, and a smile replaces her previous melancholy. Linking back to what I said earlier in the last line of the Hero of the South's message, she sarcastically remarks how his clairvoyance was wrong, and that people remember him and continue to celebrate his legacy. And so, to tie this arc off nicely, we connect back to the theme of the importance of memories, and how to live is to be remembered. In just 9 minutes, we get a sense of what a Giga Chad the hero of the South was, as well as his significance to the world of Frieren. It turns out, the hero archetype doesn't need to be the main character to have an impact. Give Frieren half an episode, and we are able to explore a completely different definition of a hero, and how glory isn't the only deciding factor, but the sacrifices you make for others. Now, obviously the hero of the South was the main attraction of this episode. I mean, he's literally the namesake of the episode itself. But upon rewatching, the neglected second half actually had more symbolism and world building than I thought. Let me enlighten you, young one. Even though you're probably older than me.
Summon your focus, Stark. Don't you know time is a finite resource?
So we see some more character development from Frieren and... Psych! Yeah, no, obviously not, since this is so outlandishly out of character for Frieren, and character development doesn't happen overnight. Also, Fern is skeptical, so that gives away that Frieren is being weird right now. And while we're on this scene, just the way she delivers this line is kinda funny. Frieren isn't a comedy anime by any means, but it does have these dry humor moments that make you chottle a little. It's super subtle and it doesn't try to be funny, rather it gives you the option to find it funny or just move on and pretend it wasn't a joke. I like to call this joke edging. Joke hedging, and I low-key do this in real life so I don't get embarrassed if no one laughs at my joke. For these 2 shots, it looks like they reused the background and just zoomed it out a bit, but actually the brick pattern is different, and they added a barrel too. But like, at this point, why even bother trying to differentiate them? They still look the same from a glance. Fern looking at bread because it was established last season that she liked pastries, that's great continuity. Also, Stark just gradually carrying more and more things. Give the man a break. This must be what it's like to go shopping with your girlfriend and her mom. And speaking of shopping, Fern slowly joins in. At the start, she was just standing there like an NPC, then she was interested in the pastries, and finally she joins in Frieren's shopping spree and starts engaging with her.
Women.
I think at this point, Frieren's briefcase is just a bottomless pit or some sort of hammer space. Like, she had so much shit in there, even before buying all this, and somehow it still fits? And she carries it around without breaking a sweat? Frieren might just have a Guna build, or she has a spell that makes her briefcase lighter and more spacious. Yeah, probably that. Magic explains everything, doesn't it? Stark's saying let's get something to eat and points out a jumbo berry smoothie looking thing. And we know those bring back some memories for him, so that's great continuity. Furthermore, this little bit wasn't in the manga, but they added it here to transition into the next scene better, which I think is a good change.
You must be the illustrious Miss Frieren.
If Frieren actually wanted to be incognito, why didn't she just wear a disguise or something? A shiesty at least.
Name. He says Miss Frieren was a member of the party of heroes that saved this land years ago.
What? That's crazy! We've been traveling with the legendary mage who defeated the Demon King? I'm flabbergasted. What's next? You're gonna tell me she's an elf or something? Okay, jokes aside, he probably meant this land specifically and not the world. And that foreshadows the subtext later on, which I'll get back to.
The truth is, my family's treasured heirloom sword has been stolen from us by a demon.
Very well. You can reward me with a grimoire. At least they were able to point us in the direction that the demon fled this time around. We were given no leads before. Ultimately, we did find the sword. It was at the top of the Schwer Mountains.
Wait, the Schwer Mountains? That's really fucking far away from where they are. For reference, the Schwer Mountains was where the village of the sword was back in Season 1, Episode 12, so this probably set them back a few months at least.
It once belonged to a famous demon.
Maybe I'm looking into it, but this could be foreshadowing. Who is this famous demon? I like to pay attention to these seemingly insignificant details cause they might turn out to be significant down the line, especially since Frieren is known to have good writing.
This is the very same sword Himmel retrieved. If I had let it stay stolen, his efforts would have been for naught.
Damn, Frieren's still caring about Himmel after his death, and to this degree? I think it shows that she actually loves him, even if she doesn't know it herself. The entire reason she set out on this journey was self-discovery and healing, and I like to think that if she ever does reach Ender, her reward would be the courage to say I love you to Himmel, and requite his love for her.
Besides, Himmel wouldn't abandon someone in need.
That's why he's the GOAT!
Hey, we got some new montage music. One thing that's often overlooked in Frieren is just how good the soundtrack is. Like, it's so good, I saved it on YouTube Music. Yes, I use YouTube Music and not Spotify, it's way better, so don't judge. And listen to it when I need to lock in. But it just fits the atmosphere of the show so well. When it's calm and meandering, or when shit is about to go down. They synced the horses chewing with the beat. Also, look at this motherfucker! Not a single thought behind those eyes. Stark still sucks at fishing? That's great continuity. It's that snake lizard that almost killed Stark in Sign's intro episode. That's great continuity. Here, the apples and the cart are sliced in half, which shows how powerful the demon must be, and that demons are pure evil, unlike what someone tried to argue. This shot debunks the theory that demons only kill humans for food, cause if that's the case, why would the demon not just eat these apples? They need a balanced diet or something? Frieren even questions this later. This feels almost like a POV shot, and amplifies the immersion, which in turn builds tension, as it frames the trio of being unknowingly watched. Ugh, fuck. Also, sunsets symbolize the onset of danger, which is what's about to happen.
Just adventurers passing through.
Look around. This is the work of the sword demon. Will you offer a prayer for their souls?
Nah, that's crazy ironic. A demon pretending to be a priest and initiating a prayer just goes to show how adaptive and scummy they are. Stooping as low as using religion to exploit people. Wait, humans do that as well. Also, she's smart for using a hood to cover up those horns, which is another way she bamboozles so many people. Frieren purposely shoots the ground behind the demon to reveal there are no bodies buried. Why did she think there would be bodies there in the first place? Because previously we saw mounds of dirt with stones on them behind the demon, likely implying that she pretended to bury bodies and made graves in order to sell her ruse even better. Frieren also doesn't outright slime the demon on the off chance that she might actually be human, since she doesn't know at this point.
I was nearly starving when I killed them.
Lies! Fucking lies! You could have eaten those apples from before. Just goes to show demons kill humans for the love of the game, and that yes, Frieren is justified in ruthlessly eradicating them, as they are a direct threat to other species. Oh my god, they animated the Frieren head tilt! Okay, so this is the first time we've seen a demon that isn't a mage per se. Except, psych, she is a mage, cause she throws some sort of spell off the sword at Frieren, which she dodges. Also, she somehow cuts through Zoltrak with her sword. I guess that's why demons want the sword so bad, cause he can nullify spells or some shit? I don't know, this is just my headcanon. Stark's lucky Twitter doesn't exist in his universe, or he'd get absolutely blasted by feminists for this move. That's a miscarriage right there. It's nice that Fern thanks Stark for protecting her, depicting how much their synergy has improved. And Stark's deflective reply perfectly encapsulates his personality, as someone who's humble and reliable. Alright, so this is the first fight of the season, and it went hard as fuck. The animation, the music, and especially the choreography and teamwork between the trio were on full display. Frieren sits back and lets Fern and Stark do the heavy lifting, likely to give them some training, especially since they haven't faced a sword demon before, which is why Fern kinda did fuck all and almost died here. But this also helps them prepare for a later episode, which I'm sure you know what I'm talking about if you've watched Frieren, but if you don't, we'll get to that eventually.
Our beloved city is safe once more.
Okay, so if we're going off my headcanon from earlier, then this line makes sense, right? A demon with a sword that cuts through magic would be an absolute menace to both warriors and mages. So by protecting this heirloom, then it would theoretically save many people, like Himmel, the performative male, said in Frieren's flashback.
Our efforts today could save lives.
Or maybe your joy merely grows with our sorrow.
The challenge is what makes it exciting.
Following this conclusion, we have a couple minutes of dialogue, where Frieren delves deeper into the nature of demons. She implies that the sword has some power, hence demons want it, and that when they do get it, they want to show it off because of their pride. This leads to massacres of villagers, which further emphasizes the importance of protecting the sword, and connects back to how it keeps the city safe. One of the things I love about Frieren is how it conveys so many moods within an episode. We go from light-hearted to intense thriller, to somber and ominous.
Humankind knows desire. The demons will take advantage of it.
Then back to light-hearted.
A miraculous spell that can turn a red apple into a green one.
In literally 10 minutes. And it doesn't feel exhausting to follow because everything just flows so naturally together and each section doesn't overstay its welcome. Fights in Frieren are short and impactful, while dialogue scenes like the one at the end are more meandering, acting as a way to recover from that cortisol spike. That's why watching Frieren feels fleetingly long. It's slow-paced, yet so dense with emotions that you feel like you watched an hour-long film instead. Overall, another great episode. This is one of the more memorable ones, I'd say, since the Hero of the South arc was so amazingly written. But also, the second half is horribly underrated, and could foreshadow some massive plot points later on. If you're wondering why the first half feels so different to the second, that's because I originally made a video on the Hero of the South, and then I decided to do an Overanalysing series and realized what a mess I got myself into. Cause it would be super weird if I titled the video Overanalysing Frieren, the Hero of the South, and then it just wasn't. So for the sake of organization, I decided to combine that video with my analysis for the second half of the episode to make this ratchet of a mess instead. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if I missed anything or you want to share your thoughts on the episode, please leave a comment. I read all of them, by the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.